WBXO Classic Rock Redefined, a special edition of the Pat Show today. Excited to have on our rock and roll phone a friend, this guy, incredible Texas blues guitarist. He's been blazing his own trail since the age of 14 and steadily climbing up that blues rock hall of heavyweight mountain. And this album, Tell the Truth, clearly demonstrates his talent. Our good friend Lance Lopez. Lance, what's going on, man?
Hey, Pat, thank you so much for having me on the show again, man.
No, it's been a while. A lot of good things are going on in your life. But last time I talked to you, you just made the proposal and now married. You got a beautiful daughter. You're on tour, a national tour. I've been screaming about that for 2 years.
Not bad. Yeah, man. I'm really blessed, man. It's so fortunate, man. I'm just, really grateful how well things seem to be going nowadays, man. I don't take it for granted, that's for sure.
No, that's great. Lance and his band heading to Washington, D.C. for a show Thursday in the Big Apple in Manhattan on Friday, and at Chan's in Woonsocket, Rhode Island on Saturday. Man, I've been screaming, this guy's got to get out of Texas and Louisiana, and I know that's what you certainly wanted to do. I'm just happy that everything's lined up and things are going well for you. How's the tour going so far?
Everything's been great, Pat. I mean, really, it has been really wonderful, man. It has taken us a while to kind of break out of our little area. We have our little region, and one of the things about it is Texas is so big, man. It's just it's hard to go from one end to the other as it is, but we just stay there playing all the juke joints and the roadhouses and all the places all over the place in Texas, that it's just to cover every place there takes forever. So it's man, we need to get out of here, and we need to, we've been here, this is our area, we need to venture out, we need to get out, and with this Tell the Truth album, that's what we really, that was the goal, was to not only get us, back on the road, but playing all over the States, which, we go to Europe a lot. When we do, we'll do each coast, but man, we've really started to branch out into playing, everywhere. So this is really my first real, tour of North America, as a solo artist, which is, as with my band, and not in another band or doing something else, and not just sparse dates here and there. It's really been good. So, with the release of Tell the Truth on Mascot Pro Vogue, it's really been a great thing. So, we're really excited to be out. Everything's been great. The shows have been phenomenal. The band is a 4-piece band now. For a long time I played as a trio. But I've got my good friend and my right-hand man, Wes Jeans from East Texas. He's playing guitar with us, so we've got a kind of a double guitar attack going on here with
nice.
A piece band. So it's a bit of a heavier sound, a bigger sound, and it's really cool. It allows me to kind of play a lot of the songs on the records, as they sound on the album. So everything's been really going really good, Pat.
Well, I am really super excited for you. Every time I play a track, I worn out the Lance Lopez Live in New York track, and people go, who is this guy, and why don't we hear about him? And I know you played up here a few years ago at the Johnny Winter thing with Paul Nelson and those guys, but I said, boy, I said, look, it's just a matter of time. He's going to get out there, and I am just so happy for you and that you're hitting the road and hitting the States, and that's a big positive, because the world needs to know more about you, buddy. I've been a big fan since I started playing your music, and I gotta add, I was and still, I guess, disappointed when I read that you were no longer with that great Kenny Arnoff and Fabrizio, and that Supersonic Blues Machine was wow. But I get it. I get it, without even asking you. It's hard with schedules. Kenny's touring. You got your own thing you needed to get going. I didn't really get a chance to talk to Fabrizio, but he just said, no, Lance, had to do his own thing. And I get it, but boy, you guys had some combination. And maybe someday you'll hook up with those guys again. But I think, I'm talking here, but I think for your primary goal, you needed to do what you're doing now. Am I wrong with that?
No, absolutely. And I mean, it was a great, season, I would call it, for that. And, and they're still functioning as a unit. They've got, they're using different guitar players and singers. But it was time to go and start, to get, like I said, we needed to grab a foothold in North America, and we needed to do this tour. And with the release of Tell the Truth, that's what needed to happen. And that's kind of what we did as far as when we were recording the Supersonic Blues Machine albums. I was recording Tell the Truth at the same time.
Oh, okay.
And I'd actually come up and recorded some at Paul Nelson's house, and we got some tracks from there. And I'd recorded out in L.A. with Fabrizio, and I'd recorded some in Texas. So it was kind of an amalgamation of different recordings from all over the place. But at the same time, we were still putting together Supersonic Blues Machine, and we recorded 2 albums in the span of me recording one. So it was kind of like me going, okay, we recorded Supersonic, and so because how the sessions would work in L.A. would be, we would record all day with Supersonic Blues Machine, take a break, and then I would go back in and record for my record. So, and that was like fun time. Supersonic Blues Machine is very much Fabrizio Grassi's band. It's very much his project. And so it was very, it very much had a very, I don't want to say rigid, but it was a very, scheduled, kind of very produced, very, thing like that. And then, so at the end of the day, when it was time to record mine was like, I don't know, I don't want to say more fun, but it was like, okay, now I can do some playing and work on my thing. So that's kind of how we always viewed it, and Fabrizio played bass and produced, all those albums. I mean, he played bass on Tell the Truth and produced it. So, yeah.
Yeah,
that's kind of how we did it, So when it finally came to light and we finished it, it was like, okay, now I need to go support this, and I need to go, do this. And I felt that it, that there was some conflicts with that, and so it was, I had to go out and support the album.
Yeah, no, and I believe, and Fabrizio, when I did talk to him really briefly, it is what it is. You have to do what you have to do, and you're right. Tell the Truth is your baby compared to the great work that you guys, that chemistry that you have with Fabrizio and Kenny and all the other guys. I mean, I love those 2 albums, but certainly I love what you're putting out here. So tell me about Tell the Truth. We'll move forward here and get to where we are today. Tell the Truth, more of a, the Lance Lopez ups and downs. This is, a message to yourself of being honest with yourself, and, you want to get things off of your chest. Is that where the songs pretty much come from?
Yeah, I mean, that's, it's just kind of, the blues is about that in general. The blues is about real life struggle. It's about, that's what makes it blues. Not that it's like, some of your blues society people and blues purists and blues traditionalists will be like, well, they'll hear some of this and go, well, that's not blues. Well, it's like, well, no, but the story content and real life struggle is blues, and I'm a blues guitar player and a blues singer, number one, first and foremost. So that was kind of what we based everything around very good songs, whether they be more rock, whether they be more southern, whether they be more blues, whether they be more whatever, R&B or whatever. The fact of the matter is that at the core of each song is a real life struggle. And what was so interesting about, and not always struggle either. There's also happiness. There's also joy. There's also, it doesn't have to be horrible, and that's what we also wanted to share with this, with everybody on this album too, is that it's not all just downtrodden and sad. Like, you don't want to put it on and feel worse after you listen. You want to feel better.
Yeah.
It was about that, it's just real life. And so what was cool is that a friend of Fabrizio and I, Joey Sykes, great songwriter. He's actually from New York, and he's in LA now. He wrote some really cool songs, kind of sitting back and looking, like being on the outside and looking in at my life. And so he wrote some songs about it, which was kind of eye-opening for me too at that time, which really made me like, wow, it wasn't like a generic song where it was like, here, record this song that I've shopped to 15 other artists. It was like, hey man, I wrote this song about you. And he's still doing it today. I mean, he still writes songs. He goes, hey man, I was thinking about you and I wrote this song about you. So that was really an interesting concept that I'd never done before. I'd always gotten with songwriters, or I'd always written a song, but I never had anybody sit down and go, hey man, I wrote this song about you. Here,
wow.
What do you think? And so that was a big, big difference on this album. Aside from everything else, is that really, that happened. Serge Simic was another guy, he's an Eastern European friend of ours. Same thing. He had some songs and did the same thing that once he heard what Joey was doing, he kind of started doing the same thing. He wrote songs about me and songs, in that vein. And then I would just write the lyrics about, things that were happening in life from, kind of from the struggle of where it started, and I was like battling addiction and going through all that, which is like songs like Down to One Bar and then, and then coming out of it, like you mentioned at the beginning of the interview, with my wife and my daughter now, it's like, that's where Angel Eyes of Blue and songs like High Life and then before all that, I went through a previous divorce, so that's where like Blue Moon Rising. So it really it covered this like big span of time over like a big several years of period where we were just amassing the songs, and it just kind of flowed with how life was flowing. So that's kind of where Tell the Truth comes from. I mean, it was just all like life story kind of biographical kind of stuff that happened, and it like just has this like twists and turns of good stuff and bad stuff and happy times and not so happy times. So, and the title track itself is just about, being on the road, traveling, we talked about traveling from Dallas down, because we were doing a lot of shows on the coast in Galveston and Corpus Christi at that time, and just to drive from Dallas to Corpus Christi, that's a 9-hour drive.
Wow.
Just in Texas. So, I mean, just that drive alone to get from point A to point B, and you're just like, driving in Texas, and you get out, and you're just like, wow, I can't, you're just so exhausted. And so that's what that was about. It's like, man, we've been up all night driving, trying to get to the next gig, trying to get to the next place, and it's like, man, I've just got, nothing more to give other than the truth.
Right.
And that, like when somebody comes up and goes, man, how are you doing? And you just, most people just go, oh man, I'm fine. Oh, I'm okay. It's like, dude, I'm super exhausted, man. You had no energy to like, to like go, oh, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like that's what Tell the Truth is about. It's like, man, you've gotten to such a point where it's just like, here it all is, man. I've got nothing to hide anymore. Here we go.
I hear you, man, and the sun is definitely shining for you. All those black clouds are gone, and you are on a positive and a happy road right now, which is great. I love the songs. Cash My Check is great. The Real Deal is great. I love the video, Down to One Bar. The video was comical, dude. That was like... That was a killer. And I thought Blue Moon Rising, I thought that was probably the best written song in the album. I don't know. That's just my interpretation. But all in all, it's a great piece of work, and I'm really happy for you. And who are you listening to these days while you're in the van on the tour? Anybody catch your attention?
Oh man, we've got a lot of guys that we listen to now. We've been listening to a lot of Blackberry Smoke.
Oh, great band.
A lot of Marcus King. Of course, Derek and Susan always.
Oh yeah.
Always Government Mule. And then, the good thing about it is they're all our friends, so it's like we're listening to all our buddies. But, we got a lot of cool music like that, like we're listening to all the time. Rival Sons is another big one that guys listen to, and they love those guys, the rock band. And then, Wes and those guys are really up on Greta Van Fleet, too. They love those kids, man. I mean, it was like, we were like, it's like a dream come true, especially as a guitar instructor. It's like my goal is to have a kid come out and sound like Jimmy Page. It's like that. If we could turn music back that direction, it's like, dude, my job is done.
I heard.
It's just like it's so much hope hearing those kids.
I heard them. I heard them, and man, I was shaking my head, going, "Is this really what I'm watching and hearing?" And good for them. And I like the fact that they're honest. They don't play Zeppelin. You can say what you want, but boy, do they sound so Zeppelin-like. But it's great stuff. It's really. I'm happy for those guys, man. That's great.
They sound good.
Well, we're honored to have my man Lance Lopez on the road with his own band, supporting his own album, Tell the Truth, which is great stuff. Washington, D.C. on Thursday, New York City on Friday. One of my favorite places, Chan's, on Saturday. Boy, that's a unique place. Have you ever been there? You've been up there, haven't you?
I haven't been to Chan's yet. And and also, Pat, we added another date on the 5th. We're going to be in New London, Connecticut at the Hygienic Art Park.
Okay.
So that's in New London, Connecticut on Sunday, August 5th. So that just popped up maybe a week or two ago. So we added an extra date.
Excellent. I wish you were over here at Daryl's house with Walter. That would have been insane. But
it would have been.
Things happen. We'll get you back up here, right?
Oh yeah.
Anything else that we can help promote? When are we going to have the Lance and Kayla album come out?
Man, I just went home on this last break from the Midwest leg, and I went home and she was talking about it. So she's really, we're not sure what it's going to be yet. We've got to get some songs together, but we sat down and had a long conversation about just that. So it's going to be coming soon. She's getting ready. She kind of, now that she's a new mom and stuff, she devotes a lot of time to our daughter when she's not out with Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and she'll be doing the Trans-Siberian Orchestra tour again this year. But I think she's starting. I don't want to push her too much, I don't want to push too hard.
Yeah.
Let her kind of come with it. And she did sit down and we did talk about it last week, as a matter of fact. So we're gonna start making some plans to do some really cool stuff.
That would be awesome. I said, boy, what a combination. Kayla's got such a great voice, and I caught the show in Albany last year, and man, wow, love TSO. All right, my man. Well, finally, I'm happy we connected, and again, I'm been a fan, and I'm happy to keep playing your tunes, and I'm going to continue to play your tunes. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get down to New York City or get to Chan's, or I don't know about New London because I got my radio show on Sundays. But we will. I will track you down one of these days, or get you in the radio station with us.
Cool. I would love to, Pat. Thank you so much for having me on the show again, and we look forward to seeing everybody at the shows.
All right, my buddy. Safe travels, and we'll see you soon. Lance Lopez, Tell the Truth. Go buy it today. iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, and check out Lance's website at lancelopezmusic.com. Thanks, bud.